Hi, my name's Sue Ellam and I'm a tarot reader and have been for 25 years. And the cards I'm using are the Mythic Tarot, which are based on Greek mythology.
And I'm Carrie Beleno, intuitive Reiki master teacher and spiritual life coach. Shout out and thanks to everybody who've been watching and sharing. We appreciate it because we work hard to lift the vibe, as you will say, trying to keep everybody sane and healthy. All right, today's question. It's obvious things are changing, but change scares me. How can I cope? And remember, these aren't my questions. These are questions of things I'm seeing out there. So I think with my clients, the fear of change is the biggest fear people come with, even though it's masked by other fears. I feel like it's always most of the time, the underlying fear. So, whether if someone's afraid to move, or if someone's afraid to leave their relationship, or someone's afraid to whatever the fear is, it's really the fear of change. And that's the underlying thread on under all the fears. So it just occurred to me, someone commented on our video yesterday, that about something you said about change, and I want to look it up then while you're talking, and I'll share it then. It was something about change, something you said about change opening up new possibilities that wouldn't exist if we didn't embrace the change. So the problem with change and coping with it is that as humans, we tend to analyze. We don't tend to feel. And when we try to analyze what's out there, meaning the end result of the change, it freaks us out because there's no mental capacity or analysis for the unknown. And what the pandemic has done, what this crash in employment has done, and everything we've been through, is it's created an enormous opportunity for change, which we needed. The systems needed to change. Our structure needed to change. Being on a job 24/7 needed to change. Being detached from our immediate family needed to change. All of that needed to change. And if someone had told you that this was going to happen in January, it would have created immense fear because we would not have been able to categorize it in our analytic brains. And so what we tend to do is think about long-term consequences or long-term possibilities for things that we can't compute yet. So coping with that, I'm going to tell everybody to come back to where you are right now. Come back to the present. Don't think out there. It is impossible to predict what's going to happen. Sue and I were just talking about that in our pre-taping meeting that we hold every day. And we were talking about how it's so impossible to predict what's going to be happening. We feel the energy around it. We can kind of see little glimpses, but we don't know, obviously. So I'm going to tell everybody to come back to cope, to come back to the now. How do I feel right now? How do I feel about the decision I have to make right now? How do I feel about moving forward with the first little step of change right now? How do I feel? If you love it, do it. If it scares you, or there's too many doubts, don't do it. And that's how I coach my clients on coping with the inevitable change that's happening. And trust me, it needs to happen. It is all going to work out in our favor in the end. So please hang in there. But in the meantime, stay as present as you can with the immediate steps on the path toward change that you can control or foresee or take as we move toward the change we cannot see.
Yep.
Over to you.
Okie dokie. Let's see. Reminds me of a quote that I heard many years ago. It's Confucius, and said, even if you hold your hands really, really tight together, you can't stop the air inside your hands changing. And I've always remembered that, and for many, many years.
Love that.
Yeah, you can't stop change. Sometimes it's gradual, and you don't notice it so much.
And sometimes it's a big old shake-up.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, talking about kind of change and being frightened of it, and this card here, the Two of Swords, it's about not wanting to acknowledge change. It's kind of, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to know it, I just want to continue the way I'm going and just keep on going and la 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 la, I don't see anything, I don't hear anything, there's conflict outside me, but I just close my door but the problem is your world gets smaller because there's so much change outside. If you're ignoring it, it's like living in a house. And you say you've got you've got 2 bedrooms in your house, and outside in the street there's change. There's neighbors are changing, your friends are changing, something's happening, and you don't want to know, so you keep your front door closed. And then eventually, people knock on your door and they come into your house and they bring change with them. So you end up kind of locked in the bathroom because change has just inhabited your house, because the ideas have changed. People have only got to talk to you and there's change. So by ignoring it, you just create this conflict within yourself. But if you embrace it, if you listen to what people are saying, because their change might not be your change, and people see change as a bad thing, but it's not. It's usually not a bad thing. When change comes to your door, it's because you've outlived your current life, that you've got nothing else to learn from your current situation. And even if it's uncomfortable, even if it comes in the form of a breakup of a relationship, or needing to kind of move location, or ending a job, we're only fearful because we don't think the universe will supply for us, and we think that we're going to go into a downward spiral. My relationship's ended, I'm going to be on my own for the rest of my life. That's not always a bad thing, to be honest. But but the thing is, somebody else would come along who'd be a lot better, and you wouldn't have known about them because you were stuck in a relationship that wasn't really working. So change is a breath of fresh air. And as I said before, with Confucius saying, we can't stop change. We can sit here and do the same thing day after day. We can do it for 20 years. And guess what? Our bodies are changing. We're getting older. Well, you can't stop it. So why not embrace it? Listen to the people around you, and you might find that some of the changes are actually something that you really that would be a lot better. It's just not what I'm used to. But let's go out and try it. But it doesn't have to be a thing of conflict.
We're conditioned to fear it.
Absolutely, as though change is bad, and it really isn't, because we have the Eight of Pentacles, and this is new work, new projects, new things, learning something new, coming away. When And it's what I was saying before, you've come to the top of whatever you're doing. You've learned everything you can learn in your current situation. There's nothing else to learn. So the choices are stagnation or change. And stagnation is a horrible word, to be honest. So if you say, do you want to change or do you want to stagnate? That's the question. Mm-hmm. But this is new work, new things, new avenues of finance as well with this, as you know. So it's studying, it's learning new things, and it's doing something different. And that's what change is. And the Ten of Pentacles, you will achieve a lot. You will build your family, you will build, you build business, you'll, be open to change, and the achievements that you can create are way beyond what you can imagine. Because, everything, the real tragedy is when people try to remain the same. That's not what we're here on this planet for. We're here to develop. You have to, I don't have children, but if you have children, you have them, would you want them to stay a baby for 20 years? They change, they grow up, they find their own lives. Everything is changing, but it's such a gradual thing that half the time you don't notice it, and suddenly they've left home or they've got married. Everything changes, but there's a lot of achievement here if you can just embrace that change. And the Three of Cups, new relationships coming into your life. They can be new love relationships, new business relationships, new situations. It's just, there's money and love and everything here. The only thing that stands in your way is you. By just, I'm comfortable where I am. I don't want anything to change. I'm sorry, it's going to change around you, and you're going to end up. Is it Mrs. Havisham in David Copperfield who got jilted on a wedding? So she was in this room in her wedding dress and cobwebs everywhere. And that's, I know it's an extreme example, but that is what happens on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, if you resist change, because we are meant to embrace it. We're not meant to fear it. Change is a good thing because it keeps us alive. It keeps us alive. It keeps us active. It keeps our minds going. And not just getting stuck in that kind of fear of things being different. Those are the cards.
Yeah, unless I have the wrong story, I believe everything caught fire then.
Yes, yeah.
It's incinerated. So
yeah.
I just want, before we sign off, I just want to restate something you said that I want our listeners to remember. Change means you've outlived your current life. I think that's a really important takeaway. So consider that in your life in the moment.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that, Sue.
My pleasure. Yeah. You were going to mention something about.
Oh yeah, I think I sort of summed it up. But,
okay.
About the change. Life changes and it gives you possibilities.
Okay. Yeah.
That was something that you said a couple of days ago in one of our readings. And and we need those possibilities. We need those opportunities.
Absolutely. So just look forward to it.
Yep. And we're here to help every day here on our channels, and also one-on-one in person should you want to reach out to one of us.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for joining us. Bye from me.
Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.